Good evening, ladies, and welcome to our audience who's joining us live for this awesome webinar of showcasing some amazing KZN Top Business Women and what they have to share with our community and some of their skills. And I love to introduce these ladies and their natural inputs that we don't really get to see when we just get into the business world. So I'm looking forward to having you join us this evening and meeting these ladies and just finding out a little bit more about who they are, their natural skills and abilities and talents, and a little bit about who's the person behind the businesswoman. So thank you for joining me, ladies. I'd like to just let you know that the process this evening is each of you will have an opportunity to introduce yourself around about 2 minutes, and then I'm going to just ask you some questions. So without further ado, I'm going to ask Premi Subramany to introduce herself. So Premi, if you could unmute yourself and just introduce yourself to our audience.
Good evening, ladies. I'm Premi Subramany, and it's great to be part of the KZN Top Business and to enjoy Durban. Okay, so I'm Premi Subramany, as I said to you. I'm the Managing Director of Chemsol SA Adhesives. We're in a manufacturing business, and what the company does is we manufacture water-based adhesives and specialty polymers for the paper and packaging industry. And so where are these adhesives used? They're used in all packaging for food packaging. If you think about our Nando's packaging, KFC boxes. So similarly, there's other packaging companies that purchase the adhesives and they use it in their processing to manufacture these paper bags. So yes, I'm in the manufacturing industry. We are based in Durban, KZN, as we know. We have a staff complement of about 25 people. We have processes to manufacture the adhesives. We have a laboratory. We have administration staff. Yeah, and we do what we do every day. That's enjoying manufacturing adhesives.
Thank you so much, Premi, for sharing that with us. I'd like to ask you, who's been instrumental in your career as a mentor that inspired you, and how has that influenced you in your business perspective?
I must say it's my mom, my late mom. She was an entrepreneur. She had a vegetable stall and she had a business in the market. And every time, being a qualified accountant, she would always talk to me about doing something different. And she's always called me a bean counter, being an accountant. So it was quite interesting. And we would always chat about having something, that I could formulate and I could make it my own, a patent that she would call. And yeah, she was quite instrumental, guiding me, giving me everything that I needed to know in my daily life, in my personal life. And now for a few years that she was around in my business.
And what would you say is some of the core values that she's instilled within you through that process that has produced some amazing results for you that you apply in your business?
It's honesty. She always told me honesty is the best policy. And she says, if you're honest, you'll go a long way. And that's what I kept going in the past 19 years that I've been in business. It's just being honest, both with myself and the people that I'm with, my staff, and I think my customers.
Perfect, thank you. And just a perspective on something that I think everybody experiences is some form of shape of rejection at some stage in our business careers. So how do you personally handle rejection when it shows up for you?
It happens quite often. I think being working on the floor with many, with the male, it's a male dominating industry, and most of them are processing on the factory floor. using machinery. So I sort of most of the time get sort of like a resistance, but I think it's the approach that's very important, and just showing them that you're confident in the product that you make, and showing them how they would achieve their results with our product, and showing them how they would shine in what they do and how they would achieve their results. And I think that's most important to me.
That's perfect. Thank you so much, Premi. It was lovely to get to know you a little bit better, and for the audience to also understand a little bit about your thinking behind the businesswoman. Next up, I'd like to ask Boni to introduce herself. So please, Boni, if you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you so much, Anneme. My name is Boni Mchunu. I'm the mother, I'm the daughter, I'm the wife, and I'm the leader. I'm the MD, Managing Director for East Coast Radio. I've been at East Coast Radio for the past 8 years. I regard myself as a businesswoman. I'm not a radio woman. I used to work for Unilever for many years. And I think really what takes leaders from one to the next, or from like really growing their own businesses, it's just a pure sense of leadership and being able to be decisive in making decisions. So that's who I am. I was born in Pietermaritzburg, and I was raised by my widowed dad. My mom died when we were very young, so my dad brought us up, and I'm the last one from the family of 5 girls.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Boni. Lovely to get some insight into your personal space. I remember meeting you some years back when before COVID and all those entertaining things. So tell me, with this ever-evolving landscape of how those things affected the business, especially in your industry, how do you guys keep abreast of those changes to ensure that you are still relevant in the industry, especially with things going into podcasts, et cetera, et cetera? So how do you guys keep abreast of those changes at ECR?
Sure. As you can imagine, I think media has been really challenged in terms of innovation and the digital space the world is moving into. So what we've had to do really to keep abreast and still be the premium #1 media brand in KZN is adaptability, being able to be adaptable and being agile. The world we operate in is very VUCA, so they say, you know, it's volatile, it's uncertain, no one knows what's going to happen tomorrow. I remember when COVID happened, the example you make, we didn't know that we can actually broadcast from each and every presenter's home. But because we are adaptable and we are agile, we were able to set up all our presenters. Remember when the call was made on the 26th of March that we can't be in the offices. So we were able to set all our presenters up, and we were able to broadcast throughout KZN, but broadcasting from everyone's home. So adaptability and making sure that in an uncertain environment, you are equipped to be agile and be ahead of the game. I think also just, you know, to have the right people in right places. If you have the right team in right places, it's easier to make decisions because you know that everyone will rally behind that. So I think it's a very big thing for me. But also, you know, it's about the drive. Do you have people who have the drive, who are determined, who are disciplined to make sure that they see through what you set for yourselves as a business? I really think those are the things that have been able to help us navigate this innovative space, digital space, and still remain the #1 KZN media brand in KZN and in South Africa for that matter. So yeah, so it's really adaptability and agility in doing all those things.
Which we all in KZN when you guys did it. So absolutely. You mentioned your dad, and in your recording from the interview at the spa at Mangwanani some weeks back, I wanted to find out what qualities and attributes that you admire about him the most, that has had the biggest influence in the way that you apply it in your life, personal and professional.
Sure. Yeah. I think the very big one, honestly, is hard work. He used to say, if you work hard, your work will speak volume and people will see you. And for me, that has really been testament in absolutely every industry that I've worked. And people will say, we see your work, we see you, and that's why we want you to join our company. That's one. And there's no work that's too big or too small. Just fold your sleeves up. I think also the second one will be entitlement. He taught us very young that you are not entitled. You need to work and put in mileage for things to happen for you. And then the third one was where you come from, it doesn't matter. Just people don't care. Actually, no one has ever asked me, were you poor? Did you have a mother? No one cares about where you come from. People care about your values, your hard work, and can you deliver? And then the last one was, he used to say to us, the decisions you're happy to do around education must be the decisions you are happy to live with tomorrow. And I know I am where I am today just because of education. So those are the four. I said three, but those are the four really, really values that my dad imparted with all of us at home.
And you certainly have made success with using those. So well done, Boni, and thank you for showcasing that for us and giving us some insight into you as a person.
Thank you so much.
What's important to you. Next up, I'd like to ask Joudalle to introduce herself. Joudalle Govender, if you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the audience, please.
Good evening, everyone. Congratulations to the nominees that are here. Firstly, I want to say thank you to KZN Top Business for recognizing and giving this platform to female entrepreneurs. Big one on you. My name is Joudalle Govender, and I'm the co-founder of Adento Trading. 5 years ago, we started the business. Well, the business has been running for almost 20 years, but 5 years ago, it changed course. And we were given an opportunity by a corporate company which incubated us. And at that time, we had only 4 people. Ever since 4 years later, fast tracking, we became the preferred supplier, and we now address 10,800 people. We have a manufacturing company in Isitaba, where we have almost 88 people currently. 18 of them who are students that will be graduating with us in the next month or so. We last year won the KZN SME Award for Accelerator Award for being the fastest growing SME in KZN. And we're growing ever since. We've now been chosen for the last 9 months, supplying one of the major retailers in South Africa. And we're growing. We predominantly managed and owned by females. So at Adento, the ladies lead from the front.
That's amazing. Thank you. And congratulations for that awesome award. That's amazing to get that recognition, right? When you put in the hard work, sometimes as entrepreneurs and business owners, it feels like a lonely road. So recognition like that is nice affirmation to say, hey, we're doing something right and you're on track. Now, like every business, yes.
Well, I can tell you that definitely brought the culture much closer in my team. That wasn't an award for me, to be honest. It was more the passion that was put into it and that fast tracked the improvement and the quality and the experience that came out of the ladies that I have, which almost 95%. I think Isitaba is a quite rural area, beautiful area. So having that kind of workmanship and skills coming out from people that barely finished in school is quite an amazing award. So yes, that award we would pat our backs. I think it was we really deserve that. We worked extremely hard, continuously for almost 3 years and 9 months into retail, and we're still working very hard. Every day we work harder.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And what I wanted to ask was, like any business, there's some setbacks and obstacles. What are some key takeaways that, think of 1 or 2 of your biggest setbacks, and what were some key takeaways that you learned from those setbacks that you used into growing the business?
Well, I had quite a good mentor some time back who's still my mentor, and he's played a big role in the decisions that I was making as we were scaling, because it was such a rapid scaling. We were growing so fast, and we still continue to grow quite fast. And one of the main things was the push and pull factor. We were a small SME, and we didn't know how to say no. We didn't know. Everything was yes, 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 because we wanted to. We were also rushing. So we learned, as a leader, I learned patience. I learned, understanding the business better, understanding what our skills were, and when to say no and when to step back. Even when we were given the Accelerator Award, we had a lot of offers on the table, but we had to step back. We didn't have the finance to continue on taking on these big giants. And secondly, we didn't have the skills as well. So we needed time to upskill. So I would say, from a leadership point of view, I learned to be more patient on that. From a business point of view, we had more than just one setback. You know, finance is always an issue. Every day is a challenge. But I can tell you from where I'm sitting and from my company, we love challenges, especially we ladies. We have a feisty bunch of ladies, including myself. So we never like to say no. So whenever there's a challenge, we learn from it, we move forward, and we look forward to the next one. And I think that's where our strengths are.
Yeah, we don't grow where it's comfortable. It's when those challenges show up and you get out of that comfort zone that you have to dig deep and find some resources. And that's when you walk into elements of yourself and talents that's hidden that you didn't know was there. So it's like a bittersweet experience, right? So
for sure. It was like, for me personally, it was like an onion, you know, layers of me coming off one by one. Still haven't reached the core yet, you know. So it was quite an experience, not for myself just only, but for my team. It definitely made us stronger. It definitely tightened our culture because we learned what it was like to give more than what we could. We learned what it was like to come together as a team. Culture is something we stand by. We were proudly localized. We're a champion actually for localization. We also knit our own local fabric, which is in the stores. So we've had quite a bit of challenges. I wouldn't say being female was hard. To be honest, I had quite a lot of support from the male side. Actually, most of them gave me most of my opportunities. I would say hard work is what got us across the line, and that the fact that we have such a dedicated team. And I think that's what's going to get us at the end of the day.
Wonderful. Joudalle, thank you very much, and future successes be with you and your team. Continue to enjoy your challenges as they arise. Next up, I would like to introduce Wendy Mahoney. Wendy, if you could unmute yourself and please introduce your business and yourself to our audience.
Thank you very much, Anneme. My name is Wendy Mahoney, and I am founder and managing director of a change management consultancy called Nonhlanhla Associates. We were founded in 2015 and we operate in the UAE and in South Africa. And what we do is we help companies change and innovate to better assist them to navigate the complexity of the times that we live in, because the complexity is only going to increase. And it's only as slow as it's ever going to be today. And we've got a variety of different programs. We have 7 different programs. The shortest one is 6 weeks and the longest one is 18 months. And they all get around the various skills that are required to accelerate innovation and to be as agile as Boni described earlier. I was also born in Pietermaritzburg and I am one of 5. I've got 4 brothers. I'm the only girl, which maybe explains a little bit of my resilience. And I'd say what I'm the most excited about at the moment is that we're currently we're very passionate about socioeconomic development and about making a difference. And we are looking at launching a problem-solving program under BRICS in partnership with local government to impart problem-solving skills specifically to women and youth. So we're very excited about that venture.
That's amazing. That's a wonderful venture ahead, and definitely making an impact in our state of our country with the socioeconomic movement. So tell me, how do you calculate risks in your enterprise? And can you think of a particular instance where something that surprised you from a risk-taking factor that you got great rewards from, but didn't anticipate those rewards from that risk?
Goodness, that's quite a loaded question. So how do I take risk? I would say I'm always cautiously optimistic. So I would say I'm a calculated risk taker. So I do believe in business that you do need to take risks. And if you analyze the data, I think I was actually listening to a Daniel Kahneman podcast this morning, if I recall correctly. And he was saying how, the most successful people are those that do take, the largest risks. So yeah, I mean, it's to evaluate the pros and cons of any decision. There's a really great little framework that I discovered, which works for me, which is what will happen if I do this, and then to place that over time. So what would happen if I do this in 10 minutes, 10 months, 10 weeks, 10 years, and what will happen if I don't in 10 months, 10 weeks, 10, etc. And it's quite a nice little simple framework that helps me sort of conceptualize. And then to make the decision. So in terms of a risk that I've taken in the business that has paid off, well, there's a lot that I've taken that hasn't paid off. So those are the ones that come to mind immediately, to be honest, over the years. I'd say we put our learning management system. You know, we decided at a certain point in time, all of our programs that we were doing for corporations, I said we mainly work within the corporate space, and they were all bespoke programs. That was heavy, you know, human capital intensive. And I just realized that in terms of the business, it's not going to scale that way. And we need to be able to offer, you know, a variety of packages. And one of them was having an online program. And the learning management system was a lot more costly than what I anticipated. It takes many, many hours to develop a program online if you're wanting to do it with a high quality. The skills that you need from the tech skills, from the graphic skills, from the learning specialists and so forth. So I didn't anticipate how costly that would be, though it's something that we're capitalizing hugely on at the moment. So now we're seeing the massive value of being able to scale and to be able to scale globally, and now to be able to play a space in socioeconomic development through programs that we've created, to be able to then impart the skills to others to facilitate those programs without us having to do the facilitation all the time. So I'd say, yeah, that was the one risk that has paid off the most.
That's amazing. Awesome. And how do you measure achievement in your personal life?
Well, I suppose achievement, like success, is pending on the person's frame. So for me, I was blessed with a very successful corporate career. My last position, I was sales and marketing director for CNBC and Forbes Africa, and I was chief revenue officer for Getrude before then. And I had an epic midlife crisis, the Hiroshima of a midlife crisis. I do it all or nothing. So, and I'd had 2 burnouts before then, so that was my 3rd burnout. And in terms of measuring success for me at that point in time, is I had everything that you could imagine would be successful, you know, position, title, money, travel, and so forth, but I wasn't happy. So I view success very differently now in my own business. I view success if I'm at peace. I view success if I'm happy. I view success if I'm fulfilled, if I'm satisfied, if I'm making a difference and I'm connecting, if I'm having meaningful relationships. So those are all the ways that I gauge achievement at the moment personally.
So the 3rd burnout was your convincer. Hey, you were convinced now
Yes.
that strategy needed to be adjusted.
It still took me a while after the 3rd burnout to say, okay, fine, I surrender. I'll do the work I need to do. So yeah, but that's another story.
Awesome, Wendy. Thank you so much for sharing, and good luck with your participation in the program.
Thank you very much.
Next up, I'd like to ask Tracy to unmute herself and introduce herself to our audience. Tracy Moonsamy.
Hi, I'm Tracy Moonsamy. I work for a company called Bio Group based in Pinetown. I head up sustainability, risks, and quality systems. I have been at Bio for 25 years. Bio is an industrial manufacturer of textiles and filtration media, vinyl coated substrates, and head-to-toe PPE. I have recently become involved with sustainability and ESG, and I find it to be such an exciting and innovative space to be. I'm also busy with my MBA and really focusing. The thing that I'm passionate about is really empowering women and looking for what the enablers and more than I think the barriers are to our success. I love learning. I think I'm crazy for choosing to do my MBA at this point in time, but I am really, I think I have, I'm in the space that I'm supposed to be in.
Awesome, Tracy. Thank you. I love that. You know, crazy is a compliment in a world of you know, who wants to be normal and what is normal and how do we define that? So bring on the crazy. We like it because the world gets changed by the ones that are referred to as a little bit crazy. So I want to know, you know, if your passion for empowering women, what are some of the values and qualities that you would recommend ladies following in this process of empowerment? What are some of those qualities and values that you would recommend for them to embody for themselves in their career and climbing their ladder?
So, you know, a couple of things off the top of my head is one, to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. So it's not always going to be pretty. It's not going to be packaged the way that you want. And the opportunities often don't present themselves how you would like them to be. And so just be comfortable with sometimes opportunities not looking the way that you want it to look. then sometimes you don't have to see the whole picture. Just take the first step. And we often want everything to be organized and in place and completely qualified and be ready for the whole journey. Take the first step and trust the process. And so often we are sometimes our own barriers to success because we want to be so ordered and know every single step. So take the chances. I think also, you know, if you're not in the right place, move. But sometimes bloom where you planted and make the best out of the situation that you're in. And to those of us that are here on this platform, I think the other thing is you know, lift others as we rise. We're often waiting to be in the right position, sit on the boards, have the real empowerment, the pinnacle of empowerment. But my journey at Bayer and personally has been, there's always an opportunity to empower somewhere else. And so take those opportunities where you are, do the little that you can. I think each one take one is the thing that makes me get up every morning. So if all of us can take one person along, it really makes this journey phenomenal. So I hope I've answered.
You have indeed, you have indeed. So tell me, you mentioned the word barriers a couple of times now. So what is one of your own big personal barriers that you've come across as you were building your career, and how did you overcome it?
So I think being in manufacturing, one of your barriers is your own sense of self-worth and your own imposter syndrome. And I think that you have to overcome that first on a very personal level. So again, we're sometimes often wait for doors to be open and for positions to be laid in front of us. But your first barrier to overcome is the feeling of being deserved, that it is your space, it is your time. And of course, manufacturing is difficult, working in a world where you're challenging prejudice and stereotype every day. But if you're stepping in already believing that you're undeserved of that space, you are just setting yourself back. So the first thing is believe that you're deserved. You know, sometimes it's okay to go and have that quiet cry. Go and have the cry, but then come back, show up, be the fighter.
Straighten your crown and
Yes.
step up again. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that, Tracy. And that's some valuable advice for any ladies following in that entrepreneurial climbing the ladder of success. Because sometimes it's tough, but it's about getting up and showing up and just forging forward. So thank you, Tracy, for sharing that with us. Next up, I'd like to ask Kim to introduce yourself. Kim, please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the audience.
Hi, Anneme, and congratulations to all the ladies who have the privilege of being alongside tonight. I am from Northern KZN and live in Ballito, and myself and my husband co-own the Remax franchise on the North Coast. I've had a rather interesting journey getting to the point where I am tonight. I spent a substantial part of my career in the film and television industry, around 12 years, before I was convinced by my husband to take a really off-charted course opportunity at Remax Dolphin as an agent. And we quickly formed our very own sales team under the franchise, and I like to call them the A team. We worked fearlessly to become the #1 sales team on the North Coast, which we achieved. And then the very next big goal was to acquire the franchise under which we worked. And we achieved that in 2015. We now hold the largest market share in our area, outperforming our second and third competitors combined. And my bragging point is that we are the house of the most productive agents in our region in KZN. So we've had 30% of our agents earn R1 million in commission by August of this year, and we're certain that that percentage will grow substantially by the end of the year. And I think the reason why, or the major attributing factor to that success, or to those individuals' success, is that our business model is fundamentally different. It challenges not only the status quo of the industry, but it also challenges the status quo in general. So we adopt a huge emphasis, and our ethos is based on promoting an entrepreneurial mindset rather than an employee mindset. And our whole focus is to enable anybody from any background or educational background. So we foster diversity and empowerment. So it doesn't matter if you're a mom, a dad, single, married, got kids, got a degree, no degree. It doesn't matter if you can adopt an entrepreneurial mindset and you've got some serious grit and determination, you can pretty much charter your own course and earn an income beyond your dreams at Remax Dolphin Realtors. So that's pretty much what I do, is provide the vehicle or the business model that agents can plug into, and then basically they can go and earn the lion's share of their commissions. So they operate a business within a business under our brand.
That's fabulous, Kim. Thank you so much. What you haven't mentioned to the audience who doesn't know that you're also a mom, and not just any number of kids. You have twins, right? Tell us a little
Yes.
bit more about that mom guilt. How do you manage mom guilt, having this and this career, as well as, you know, when you go home, you have the work guilt. So how do you navigate that?
Absolutely. So yeah, I think so the twins were 2 when we acquired the franchise. So that was quite a challenge, in that there obviously was a huge amount of time I needed to spend in the business, and juggling all the balls and learning all the systems, and obviously also trying to improve. So there was a substantial amount of time spent at the office or at work. What I had to learn was how to achieve balance and how to compartmentalize, essentially. So even if it was 10 minutes that I had at home, to spend that 10 minutes present. And I think that's a very tough thing for any woman, is to be present in the moment and to know that the world isn't going to fall apart if you've exited, and to also structure your work life that you can exit, and that isn't a lack of control or a lack of ambition or work ethic, that you are the master of your own destiny, and you can design things the way they need to be for you to achieve both personally and professionally. And I do think that the compartmentalization has definitely helped, and of course time management. So I'm a huge advocate for prioritization. So you know, what I try and coach some of my, and I've got lots of single moms who work at Remax Dolphin, and I say prioritization doesn't always mean it gets the most of your time. It sometimes means it gets the first of your time. So we don't always get to spend the most of our time with our number one priority, but we do get to prioritize them. So if it's the call comes and you're at work and you need to now go and be with your sick child, that will be your number one. It doesn't always have to be the place that you spend the most of your time, but they get the first of your time.
Yeah, so I think it's most important to be present, so that you have the time that you use there as quality time and impactful time. And then I think that's a very easy way to know that the love cup is filled on their side, because it's been you've been present. So then it makes it easy to get in your car and go to work and go see that client again. Kim, thank you so much for sharing that.
Anneme.
I look forward to spending some more time with you through this process.
Thank you.
Next up, I'd like to ask Liesl, please will you unmute yourself and introduce yourself and your business to the audience?
Sure. Thank you so much, Anneme. It's an absolute honor to be here and absolutely empowering to share and listen to everyone's journey. So I'm Liesl Phillips. I'm the Industrial Relations Manager at LabourNet in our KZN branch. And we act as compliance partners to our clients. So we resolve all their labor matters. And part of what I do and what I'm really passionate about is empowering people to reach their full potential. And what I've learned is that being a leader doesn't necessarily mean that you're in charge of people. It means that you are responsible for the people in your charge. And the problem I believe there is, you know, when you start out as a youngster, the only requirement is that you're good at your job. And if you're very good at your job, you get promoted. And if you're really good at your job, eventually you're the person that are responsible for the people doing the job. But nobody ever teaches us how to be a leader. And that's why we get managers and not leaders. So for me, being a leader comes with great sacrifice, because when things are going well, you have to give away the credit. And when things go wrong, you have to take all the accountability. So as a leader, I think we need to practice empathy and be concerned about the human being and not just the outcome. And I believe as women, empathy and compassion comes a bit more natural to us.
Absolutely, Liesl. Thank you so much. You use part of your, the words that you used resonate with some of my core values. So you had all my spidey senses tingling there when you said empowering people and unleashing their potential, because it's right up my alley in terms of what I'm passionate about as well. So tell me, how do you empower the people that you're responsible for?
So besides the fact that I've done some coaching with you, so those are probably sitting in my subconscious. For me, Anneme, when I ask someone how they're doing, I really actually care what the answer is. And for me, trust is very important in business. So yes, frameworks and support is crucial, but it's so important to give people the opportunity and freedom to take accountability for their business.
Okay, and so who's inspiring in your career that you looked up to and that you admired, and that you can embody some of what they've taught you in what you now pass down for the ones that you're responsible for?
So throughout my career, I've had the privilege of working with some amazing mentors. And the thing is, for me, is something that brought about great learning was, for the longest time, I needed external validation. I needed someone to just justify that my ideas are okay. And throughout the journey and working with these mentors and probably some maturity as well, I've learned that the only person's vote I need is my own. And when I realized that I needed to be my own cheerleader, that's when I really started making a success.
Yeah, and I think it's such a nice affirmation. I like using the analogy to say, you know, it's like being a lighthouse. Just shut up and shine. Just be the best version of you and shine that light. And those who are feeling like they're in the dark, and then just follow the light and say, there's an example of what I can do and how I can apply it. So it's just by leading by example for people so that they know what to model in terms of a strategy. Thank you, Liesl, for sharing that. Lovely to see you again. It's been a while as well. Next up, I'd like to ask Hawa to introduce herself. Hawa, if you could unmute yourself and introduce yourself and your business to our audience.
Good evening to all of you. It's been really inspiring to hear all the stories from all these young ladies and how they've developed their businesses. And I also need to thank the audience who's listening to us and hope we can inspire them in some way. I'm working for the last 35 years at Kingsgate Clothing. It was previously known as the Mullah Group. It's the largest privately owned family business. and they are renowned for manufacturing and wholesaling clothing. I work for the group, and my main emphasis I have been putting is in education and training.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Hawa. And what do you think? So as you said, when you said hello to everybody, is you hope that we can inspire some people listening to this webinar. So what are some attributes that you think is essential for success in the business world from your experience?
Yeah, from my experience, it's the main thing is integrity and honesty, and to be really giving of yourself wholeheartedly. And that is one of the prime aspects of success. And you have to believe in yourself so that you can believe in others of what they do.
Oh, wonderful. Because then, you know, if you believe in yourself, it's almost like you have the lenses of belief, and it's easier to see it in others around you as well. And then you can nurture that for them. Are there any specific community causes or societal issues that you are passionate about?
Yes, I'm very passionate about education. And I feel that education is the stepping stone to your success. And the main thing is that education is something that someone cannot take away from you. You may have a financial crisis, you lose all your money, but when you are educated, you've got everything. And that is, you don't allow any setbacks in your life because you're educated and you know how to move forward. And therefore, I say that do not be discouraged by small setbacks, because you have your education, and this is a stepping stone to future success.
That's wonderful advice to anybody listening, because setbacks are always going to be there. It's about having the grit and the determination and just saying, hey, what can we learn from this? And how can we use this to the next step of our process and our journey?
Okay, one thing is that you must have a dream that you want to achieve something. And that dream, you must visualize it. And if you visualize it, you know that you are looking forward to achieve something. And nothing must stop you in your dream. And as I said, if there are setbacks, don't be discouraged. And you must stay organized. And education with your dream achieves the biggest success in your life. And you are very, very independent.
That's some great advice, Hawa. Thank you very much for sharing that insights with us and with the audience. We look forward to future interactions with you and getting some more pearls of wisdom from how you succeed. Next up, I'd like to ask Getrude. Getrude, could you please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to the ladies and audience?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Getrude Ndlovu. I am 64 years old. I am a granny, a single granny, single mother. My husband died in 1995. From there, I raised my children on my own. Then, when I was young, I was 10 years old before I get married. I was 10 years old. During my player time, when I'm playing, my mother used to stop me from playing. And because I'm busy playing with other children. But I'm a last born. She used to call me. She used to call me to come and she had she was sewing the school uniforms, and she used to cut and call me to come and complete those sewing tasks. I used to get angry because I was so young. not knowing what she's doing to me. And then after that, I get married when I was getting old. I get married and my husband passed away. I have 5 children and now I got 15 grandchildren. Some of them are orphans. Then
So
I started, yes.
Gertrude, tell us what it is that you do. What is your business about?
My business is a factory. I'm running the factory. I'm sewing the wonder bags. The wonder bags are the slow cooker. This is the sample of the wonder bag. This is a slow cooker. This bag is saving power, is saving everything. Then I worked for other textile in Hammersdale for 6 years. After that, the factory closed down. I bought 2 machines. I worked from home. I did the alterations for my neighbors. And then I saw that the work is so slow. I started again to look for a job. I moved out from Hammersdale. My house is in Hammersdale. I moved from there. I came to Tonga to look for the job. I restarted looking for the machinist. I was a machinist from 10 years old. Then I restarted looking for job. I find the paper one day that lady was looking for the machinist, qualified machinist, the white lady, young, old lady. Then I called her. She called me for the interview. I went there, I passed that interview. She took me straight to Wonderpeg. At Wonderpeg, they employed me as a casual machinist. From there, I worked in 2018, I worked at Wonderpeg for Sarah Collins. In 2019, Sarah came with some of the questionnaires asking the staff, her staff, what do we do to improve the factory growing up? And that is where I saw myself as a small business. I started there to look myself as a small businesswoman. I told her that I need to open the CMT to make wonder bags and supply her bag. She trusted me. She accepted me. Then after that, I worked for Sarah. In 2020, I started to open my CMT. It is registered. It is already running the wonder bags. I got 28 staff. I like to come running. Yes.
Good. What is the most important thing you learned from your mother?
The most important thing, she gave me the talent, the sewing. Talent that I didn't realize that she's giving me the talent for my. After getting married and after getting the factory work, I realized that my mother was giving me a talent, a good talent for my future. From there up until now, I'm using that talent, and I'm encouraging another young people, young ones to communicate with me. I'm a role model of my staff. I'm participating with them that they mustn't stay and look what I'm paying them. They must look forward what they're gonna do, another jobs. We accept their wages. They must look forward and do some other jobs outside, part-time jobs to earn more money. And in my factory, I don't allow them to make fights. I don't allow them to troll with each other, because that is affecting the job. That is affecting the production. And then after that, I'm not a leader. I'm not a boss to them. I'm not a leader. I'm not a boss. I'm their friend. I'm their mother. I'm their granny. That is where now they got the chance to come back to me, to talk with me, whatever. If they got problems, it's easy for them to come back to me. Coco, I have this problem. Coco, I'm running short there. I'm assisting them. I'm helping them. And another important thing, during the, sorry, and then?
So it sounds like you don't just have your own children and grandchildren, but you've got an extended family working for you inside your factory.
I got my children, I got my grandchildren in the same job. I'm feeding them to know what they want in their life.
Thank you very much for sharing that. And we wish you all the success. For means of time, I'm going to have to move on to the next lady to give everybody an opportunity. But thank you so much for sharing that insight into how you build your business and how you nurture your staff. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Next up, I would like to ask Isabeau, would you please unmute yourself and introduce yourself to our audience?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me here. I'm very honored to be part of this. I'm Isabeau. I'm the owner and founder of Dolphin Co. Solar Solutions. So we obviously are all with the same battle, struggling with load shedding. And I started my company on the 25th of July in 2022. Obviously, I was very afraid, very concerned. I'm sure it's a male-dominant industry, but I decided to take that leap of faith. And I took that step, and in less than a year, I was voted as Best of Ballito Solar Installer. And from then on, it just went boom. And obviously for me, it's not just about getting a quick fix on your roof. It's about educating my clients and actually giving them the right solution. Because other than just load shedding, it is sustainable energy, and it is actually leaving a green footprint in our global impact.
In a male-dominated industry, how did you manage and nurture your confidence and navigate yourself through that process which is seemingly an easy industry, because everybody thinks, oh, solar is now very popular, it's very needed, but it's still a tough industry and there's a lot of challenges that you're facing. So how do you nurture your confidence in those challenges?
There's a lot of challenges starting this company, not only because it's a male-dominant industry, but it's very complex technology, and you have to stay upfront with everything that is up and going. And you are the middleman, and you have to explain to your client what is their need, what do they need, what is the new technology, what can we achieve, what is the best solution to get to them. So for me, I think it was just literally every day picking myself up and saying, okay, you can do it. Walk out with a smile on your face. I know my product. I know what I'm doing. And that was it. I literally just believed in myself.
So what was a pivotal moment for you that helped you to bounce back from one of those setbacks?
So I do believe that setbacks will always be there. And for me, a setback, I don't see it as failure. I see it as an opportunity to realign myself and come up with a new plan. Most of us will give up and decide, okay, no, this is not working out. This is not going to work out for me. But I decided every single time that I had a setback that, okay, I'm going to realign myself, make a new plan and make it work. And the more I did that, the more confidence I actually build in myself, because then you see the progress. What we do now, today, we don't necessarily understand what is going to happen in the future. But now if I look back a year ago when I started the company, it all makes sense. All the dots is connecting, and that excites me to actually move forward and do more. Now we're expanding and we have installations in Cape Town, and it just works out.
It certainly comes back to that hindsight is perfect 2020 vision. You look back and you go, oh, well, that makes sense. If only I knew that going into it, right? So it gives you a little bit of that courage to have blind faith, you know, when those challenges come, you go, hey, don't know how this is going to work out, but it's worked out in the past, and we're just going to follow that instinct and continue to create further success. So how do you measure success in your personal life? How do you create balance between work and personal?
So I am a mother of 3, and I am their example. And it was very difficult for me to balance children and also starting up a new business, and it was completely from scratch. I can measure it by the feedback that I get from my clients. I've listened to all the ladies and how they measure their success. But for me, every day is an achievement. Every day I see my children, they look up, they see, okay, we're pushing forward. I can see it in my family, I can see it in my friends. So my success, I would say, is that it's the fact that there was a point in my life that I had to choose between giving up or moving forward. And I moved forward, and looking back at where the business is, the teams that I work with, I can see we are a healthy group of people, and that is successful.
Awesome. Isabeau, thank you so much for sharing your insights and a little bit of a view into your world, and all the best of luck with your solar installations. I'm sure you've got loads of leads coming in nowadays.
Yes.
Next up, I'd like to ask Princess Nandi Zulu to introduce herself to our audience. Could you unmute yourself, please?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Good evening, everybody. Oh, what a beautiful sight to watch all these beautiful women talking about their life, their aspirations, their challenges. And it's such an honor to be here. My name is Nandi Zulu. I come from the beautiful town of KwaNongoma, which is in the northern KwaZulu-Natal. And I come from a very big family. My mother is a second wife out of the 6th wife that my late father had. And I am the 4th child out of the 8. Obviously, one of my brothers passed. And it is such a beautiful environment to be in, to be inspired by family. And I do work for a company called Tanda Group, which is owned by an IT entrepreneur in Sweden who had a compelling desire to travel to Africa and to create a long-standing commitment to it. And not only did it just come to invest, but he saw an opportunity to build himself a home in the northern KwaZulu-Natal in Ndlovu. And not just that, but he decided, you know, let me just invest a little bit more into the community, because he saw that if he has to invest into the business, then he has to have the people working for him. So he extended his hand more to the rural schools, which then he's supporting. And he started an organization called Staff for Life. And I'm the ambassador of the Tanda Group and the Staff for Life. So I'm wearing 2 hats at the same time. So basically, the Tanda Group is a hospitality company where they own a private game reserve, as I've said, and then they own a luxury island in Tanzania, and they own a cruise, which is the 12 sleeper, which you can literally just rent and enjoy the luxury, enjoy the lifestyle, and you can invest back into the community. So being part of this company has been an absolute pleasure and honor.
Now, I've watched your interview, Nandi, and I'd like to have you share with our audience, what did those rhinos get you to do?
Oh, yeah. So my colleague, Pierre Ndlovu, who's our CEO, challenged me to say, you know, there's a rhino challenge where you can jump out of the plane And, you know, he's always pushed me to the corner and he said, I've never seen a princess jump out of the rhino. And I'm like, what are you trying to say? So me being me, I went for it. I said, well, what do I have to lose? My father was going bizarre. He's like, I have such a crazy child. But anyway, there I was. I went for it and I don't know whether to say it was foolish or what, but I did it. And, you know, when I did it, I was like, oh, wow, I could do this again and again and again, you know, just to put yourself in the deep end, to get over your fears and to also do something good for the community, because rhino is one of the big five that is slowly trickling out of the big five, because of, obviously, everybody knows that we're trying to protect the nature, we're trying to protect the conservation, we're trying to protect the big five, especially the rhino, for whatever reasons. But yeah, we need to protect the rhino.
So thank you for jumping out of a plane and making the rhinos feel more at home, and that someone is, the princess is fighting for them too. And tell me, what is the legacy that you would like to leave behind from the qualities that you admired the most in your late father?
You know, my father, besides him being who he was, the leader, the king, the father, the man of God, but him just as a man, I observed him, you know, just trying to navigate his life, trying to be himself. It was such a beautiful thing to watch, because I literally threw myself at him just to be curious about him, not just as a leader, because that was just one part of him. And just to lead such a big nation, to be a husband, to be a father, to be a brother, to be a grandfather, for him to want to be himself and to be just be himself. I'm sure everybody's husband just wants to be himself, and everybody wants to be themselves in the midst of the chaotic world. I learned that my father over time became a man of peace. He became a man of, you know, he showed integrity over time, over the things that he's gone through. But mostly I saw my dad being so brave. You know, he always told me that if you're not brave, you get nothing. You've got to be brave. Otherwise, you're sucking your thumb in the corner. You're like shaking. You need to be brave. You need to jump in and be brave, just like I did for the rhino. So,
or jump out like you did for the rhino.
Yeah. So, so for me, I think just the bravery, the compassion for the people, for his father's people, the love for God, you know, and forgiveness. You know, I watched my father forgive people. He's like, you know, if you don't forgive, you can never move forward. You need to learn to let go some of the things that are not even going to help you with anything. So those are the things I've learned. Obviously, I've gone through a lot of those things myself, but I've learned to apply those qualities.
Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, forgiveness absolutely is not a gift that we give to someone else. It is a gift that you give to yourself. Thank you for sharing that story and those insights. And I look forward to seeing you again on one of these engagements. And then last but certainly not the least, I'd love to ask Dr. Naidoo to introduce herself to our audience. I'll do it the formal way. You can do it the informal way.
Thank you, Anneme, and thank you to all these lovely ladies for sharing their beautiful stories. It's been so inspiring. So I'm Dr. Parushinee Naidoo. I am the founder of Skin Solutions, an aesthetic medical clinic in Durban, Nonhlanhla, and Ballito. I've been a medical doctor for more than 20 years, and I think I found the beautiful thing of combining my personal and professional passions in the development of skin solutions. I'm also the mom of 2 beautiful children, Shala, who is 16, and my boy Rehan, who is 12 years old. I'm a sister, a daughter, a friend, a mentor, many, many caps, and I love all of it. I love having the challenge of, having beautiful relationships, of connecting with people, of building my business, of being a doctor and an entrepreneur. I think many doctors are not taught to be entrepreneurs, and I think I definitely stepped out of a comfort zone when I decided to move into that sphere. So Skin Solutions, as I said, is an aesthetic medical practice. We've been around for a few years now, and we definitely focus on helping people feel comfortable in their own skins. I think aesthetics has a bad rep on the block. People always think it's just about, overfilled faces and about having too much of Botox and things like that. But we've kind of brought the idea that aesthetics is about helping you feel comfortable within your own skin. And sometimes it's just about, treating something that has made you feel uncomfortable within your workspace, or addressing a chronic issue you've had since teenagers. And I think for me, it's more than just treating the skin. It's actually helping people, be their best and fulfill their destinies in whatever way they choose to. We are a small practice, but we have, I feel, a big impact. We've really embraced using technology to its fullest. We have a very dynamic social media platform, and I think many people enjoy that about our business, is that even though you might never step through our doors, we some way impact you with the education we offer on those platforms. I'm also very focused on, bringing the best possible medical care to South African shores, and we've been the first for many things over the years in KZN. We've brought some of the technology that has won international awards to KwaZulu-Natal, and many firsts that we have brought in terms of treatments and aesthetic options.
So how do you handle, in particular, criticism, right? Because you are breaking the mold, you're stepping out there, and you educating and teaching, and you're very vocal on the platforms on social media. So how do you handle the feedback and the potential criticism that comes through those channels, and how do you channel that feedback for self-improvement?
So I think that, if you decide to put yourself out there, you've got to take the good with the bad, using media and technology to build my brand and educate people. I have made myself vulnerable to not just the positive, but to the negative as well. And I try to basically find a teaching point in every interaction, whether it's a personal teaching point for me to focus on what my intentions was, because often your intentions can be misinterpreted. And if I remind myself that my intention was always good and positive, and you're not going to make everyone happy, sometimes I can use the negative, a feedback to actually create an education point and use that as content, by paying it forward in a positive way. So yes, I think that understanding that not everything is personal. Sometimes the things that you hear or people say about you has got absolutely nothing to do with you, and reminding myself of that is one of the ways that I handle the criticism.
And what would you, what advice would you give to ladies entering your field, wanting to break out of that typical self-employed space and into the business owner space, leveling up their business to the next level, and not just having the practice that's very dependent on them?
Yeah, so I think that, that was a big learning point for me, about stepping out of having the mindset of being employed and being a manager to actually become an entrepreneur and a business owner. I think that there's a few things I sort of feedback I can give on that. The one thing is relationships. Everything is about relationships. Whatever industry you are, building solid relationships is really important. And for me, that translated in this aspect as, trusting the people that makes part of my team. So empowering them to actually do more of, the things that didn't require my skill, so that I could do more of the things that I love to do, and the things that actually focused on growing my business. So in empowering people around me and, making them actually, fulfill their potential, help me grow my business and take it to the next level. So I think the other thing is that, when it comes to, taking that next step. It was about finding what you love. There is no success without passion. So finding what you love and doing it well, and the rewards automatically come with that. If the point is to chase the rewards, I think we always land up falling short because we never ever find the self-fulfillment. But I think if you do it the other way around, finding a way that fulfills you, giving back and contributing to something positive, the rewards will be more than just financial.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Parushinee. It's lovely to see you here tonight, and thank you for that insight for those who want to follow in the steps and want to break some molds of their own. So all the best of success to you in this process with KZN Top Business Women as well.
Thank you so much.
So that brings the interview process to a conclusion. For the audience that's online, there is a competition that I'm sure that you've been aware of. And there is some prizes. I've received the winning prize this evening. The voucher for a full body massage at Mangwanani Boutique Spa has been won by Suven Zithu. So we will be in contact, Suven. Congratulations. And a Southern Sun Ilangeli Maharani dinner voucher to the value of 500 Rand. The winner of that voucher is Shemaine Kruger. So congratulations to those two in the audience. I'm your host and facilitator. My name is Anneme Coetzee. I'm founder and owner of a company called True Awakening. I'm a behavioral specialist and a master trainer of NLP, where we specialize with coaching, personal development, value alignment processes and corporate environments, as well as also certification training to life coaches and NLP practitioners. So from your host this evening to all these ladies, I wish you well in your journey. I will see you soon and we'll be in contact. Well done. And have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye now.
Bye.